So Tempting Fate is the album, produced by Dave Alvin. You got a whole bunch of people playing on it. Tell me when you started putting it together and where, and when, and how.
Well, it all actually came together because being in John Mayall's band the last several years, he's so incredibly generous and kind that I'd saved up enough money that I figured I should make a record. I haven't had one out in a while, and I got a couple of songs in mind. And we were on tour with my band. I was in Woodstock, New York. I stopped in to see my friend Cindy Cash Dollar, and she's like, "If you could have anyone produce it, who would it be?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I'd love to have Dave Alvin do it." So she picks up her phone and calls him.
Nice.
And he said, "Yes, as the best." So I, I really better get it together now. So we did, and we all met that January in Austin. And it's kind of a secret, but if you plan on making a record, January is the best because everybody's home from tour.
Very good. That's good to know. I'll put that in my cap. Yeah. So what kind of discussion did you have with Dave about making the record and the sound and all that stuff?
I would send songs back and forth, and he had great ideas, but mostly it was getting in the studio with everybody together there, just capturing the joy of making that music together. It was so cool, and he made things better. Like, he's one of those people that you definitely can tell that he was there, because I mean, like, he improved everything that he had a part in. The song Texas Girl in Her Boots, for example, it used to start off very open chords, like right when the vocals come in, kind of thing. And he's like, "Let me stop you there. If if it feels like you're, very proud of, you want to brag about these boots, maybe you should kick in the door instead of asking permission with this opening of the song." I was like, so he picked a guitar riff that was later in the song and said, "Put that at the beginning." And he's right. The song was 10 times better immediately.
Excellent. That's what you want out of a producer.
He's the best, man. Everyone sat up straight too. It's like, dude, Dave's here. Be good.
Be good.
Did it.
That's great. All righty. And the overall tone, I mean, it does sound like you guys are having fun, but there's a certain amount of, dare I say, anger or kind of something going through some of these songs. So tell me a little bit about your mindset when you're writing these things.
Well, I've noticed in my life, if I'm happy about something, I'll go dance, or I'll go make a painting. But whenever I'm mad about something, there's just pins everywhere. Every surface suddenly has a pen and paper.
Right.
And yeah, there's plenty enough to be confused, if not angry about. So I try real hard to put myself in the shoes of the person I'm angry at, and write both to myself and to them, and see if there's any common ground. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't, but that's how songs are born. You gotta tell the truth.
Yep. Well, it sounds like you're telling your truth on like songs like, well, the opening is called Fragile Peace and Certain War, and then there's another one called Crack in the Wall. So those are pretty outspoken statements from you.
Well, we're lighting up our cigarettes, 3 smokes on every match. Tempting fate and bad luck, we're impossible to catch. You sell a grain of truth inside a sandbag full of lies. Nobody weighs it anyway, it's all they wanna buy. Seen men go down for less, they don't come back from these trenches. Both sides have fought all day and now they're clearing out the benches. The enemy's got Zippos, they don't need matches anymore. We're standing on the precipice of fragile peace and certain war.
Well, I figure it's the best way to do it. If you mean it, put it in a song. And and people, I'm more than welcome to disagree. But
I'm sure they will.
In Texas, they sure let me know. But I always kindly suggest that, well, take your thoughts and write me a song.
Right. That's a good comeback.
World needs more of that anyway.
Right. Well, you mentioned John Mayall. Did I read that he's kind of finally semi-retiring and not touring all?
Yeah, I think so. This year we are. So the album comes out October 8th. I'm going to do a couple of shows here in Texas, and then just small howdies and how you doing. So then I'm going to run off with John to go play some in Utah.
Oh, great.
And Yeah, and then we get on our little tour, and he's going to keep his stuff mostly around California. You know, just
Right.
it's travel right now. It's a bit much.
And
And
what's
he's
it like
such a
working?
badass.
What's it like working with him? Do you kind of get anything from him? I'm sure you
Oh
don't.
my God, yes, for sure. I mean, first off, it's the most guitar I've ever played in my guitar crazy life, and it makes
Right.
me it
That's
just
cool.
there's sometimes in the middle of tour just looking at my fingers, they're gonna fall off any moment now. But he encourages everyone, you know. He's so generous, and I mean, like on stage with how people want to express themselves, there's no filter with John. He wants you to do your thing and to bring it, and that's why you're there. And every night's different. When I first joined the band, he sent me a bunch of CDs to listen to familiarize myself with, and he's like, all right, here's the keys, and you know, maybe 80 songs or so. I was like, okay. So I charted them all, and you know, kept them in one of those detachable page books so I could refer to them as needed.
Yeah.
And you just never know like which 12 he's going to pull out. And to me, that was perfect. What a lovely gift to the band, that every night is a different experience. You know, we all get to, you know, be on the tightrope together. It's very cool. And his band is amazing. You know, I mean, Greg Arzab, Jay Davenport, you cannot go wrong with that rhythm section. They're super cool. And everybody loves John. So I mean, yeah, I hope I learned how to be a better band leader. I mean, I could never touch the hem of that garment, but yeah, I'm hoping I'm taking some of those lessons home with me.
Yeah, very good. Now back to your record. You have there's mostly originals, but there are a couple of covers that we should talk about, especially the Dylan. It Takes a Lot to Laugh. You got Jimmy Dale Gilmore on there, so that's something. Tell me about that.
Don't that moon look good, Mom? You're shining down through the trees. And don't the brake man look good, Mama, flagging down that double E? Don't the sun look good going down over the sea? Don't my gal look fine? She's chasing after me.
Man, it's the best. So as you know, Jimmy Dale and Dave had that record out together on Yup Rock, you know, Downey to Lubbock. What a great record, what a great tour.
Yeah.
And I've been a Jimmy Dale fan since I was a kid. I mean, I've literally have had a dream where my voice was his voice.
Really?
It's only happened a couple of times. It was Mose Allison was the first one, and then Jimmy Dale. So to get to actually sing with him was just phenomenal, mind-blowing. But when I was pulling out the song, Dave was like, you know, Jimmy Dale used to do that song too. It's like, oh, well, then I wonder what this would be like together. This, you know, and he brought it. It was so beautiful. You can't go wrong with that beautiful voice.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah. I mean, I because the Flatlanders have a new album out, and
it's so awesome.
Yeah, I know. And I talked to him, and he sounds just like he sings. You know, I mean, it's like you're listening to him sing to you. It's awesome.
It's him. It's him.
Yeah. So, what made you choose the Dylan track, that particular song? Obviously, there are thousands to choose from.
Yeah, and I've had my turn at a fair share of them. I'm a big Dylan fan as well. But that one, you know, it had been in my repertoire when I was younger as well. And my friend Scott Daniels, who played guitar with me for years, he passed on, and that was one of the songs that we would do together. That one, and actually Honeybee, which is also on the record, the Billy Joe Shaver song.
Yep.
We used to do those together all the time. So I wanted to get those recorded while I still had them, you know, fresh in my heart.
Cool. Yeah. And you've got somebody named, was it Jan Fleming playing accordion on that?
Yeah, Jan Fleming. Jan Fleming
Sorry.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, he just popped in. He's a good friends with Bobby. He and Bobby toured with Ian Moore a whole lot, and he was it's like, yeah, let me pop by. So I mean, yeah, I got to have a lot of great musicians on there. Red Young really brought it too. Like he's another one. It's like, oh, there's a few signature licks in there that's how the song goes now.
Right,
you know?
right. Yep.
It's thanks to his genius.
Cool. I see you got a co-write on Broken Hearted Blues. Yes. So who is Greg? Who is your co-writer?
That's the amazing Greg Arzab, the bass player for John Mayall.
There you go.
You spent all my money, smoked up my cigarettes. Drank up all of my whiskey, that ain't the worst of it yet. I said you ripped my heart out and you threw it on the floor. Never even looked back, baby, you just walked right out the door. I must have been blinded by my love for you. I gave all I had to you, love. I thought that we shared a true love, broken hearted blue.
Yeah, when we very first met, my band was opening up for him. He was in Buddy Guy's band at the time. And so that's how we met. I was a teenager and we've known each other, you know, off and on, like we'd run into each other. So this was one where we were getting ready for John's newest album and we were in John's living room and, you know, he had some ideas, some songs, stuff he was writing. And then he went to take a break and Greg's like playing this riff and he's like, yeah, I got this song idea. And I was like, wow, that's really great. You know, so we start, you know, I start kind of playing with him and Jay's over there sizzling and he says, Greg, I also have some words for it. I'm like, really? So he wrote, the whole first verse is Arzab, you know, and I was like, what a lovely gift. So we were writing it with the intention that it would be, you know, for John's consideration. And he comes in like, you know, with a coffee and a bite or something. He's like, oh no, that's your song. You sing that one.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, really? So yeah, I got to have my first co-write with Greg Arzab, and I just found out that it's been picked up by a couple of stations around here. So that's really
that's
sweet.
good. So is radio play still important these days in some places, especially? Well, it may be more for the blues than for, you know, contemporary pop or something, because everything's all about streaming and blah blah blah. You know. So for me, I'm just excited that someone wants to play it. It just still blows my mind. It's like, really, you're gonna play it? Yay! I'm still on that level, you know. It makes me very happy. Well, it's nice to hear that you're referring to Buddy Guy and John Mayall. It's amazing that these guys are still around, you know, and you're able to, because they've been around for a long time. So and they have this legacy, and now you're kind of part of that. So does that affect you? And is there that?
If you think about it, yeah, you'll scare yourself into silence. It's best, I think, to especially when you're approaching the songs playing with John, because he really wants you to play, like wants whatever is coming through you, the fire, to be distilled and spit it out on your instrument. You know, it's like, okay. But I like to consider the guitar players who came before me, especially signature licks or head licks. And then I really like to go, when he does like a J.B. Lenoir, he does an Otis Rush, I want to go back and listen to their recordings and see what they had in mind as well.
Right.
And try to pay that some reverence, you know. I mean, I may not pull it off, but it is certainly my intention, you know.
So when you listen to somebody like that from the past, what do you listen for? Is it their technique? Is their tone? Is it the way they play? I mean, what do you listen for?
A little bit of everything, mostly like riffs or where there's a good space. Like how are they letting the song, the lyrics, for example, where are they going to set so that you don't get in the way of them? Or is there a really interesting turnaround that's like, oh my God, that's totally Otis Rush. You have to have those two notes in a row. You have to, you have to do the double stop. You know, at some point you may not have to. Don't do the solo note for note. Don't necessarily do the head exactly like it, but to pay reverence to what hit you, what made you move to that song, you know, and then tailoring it, of course, to whoever's playing it is always the best, because John, man, he opens up that mouth, that beautiful voice comes out. It's like, yes, I want people to hear that.
Very cool. Very cool. I see you got Dave to pick up his guitar and play a little lead on the final track on Loser, right? Which is a Dead song, Grateful Dead song. So tell me how that came together.
Don't you push me, baby, because I'm on it low. Well, I know a little something you will never know. I don't want you to touch hot liquor, just a cup of cold coffee. I wanna get up in the morning and go.
Oh man, well, back in the day, 20 some odd, yeah, I guess it was right at 20 years ago. I was in a band, the Jerry Lightfoot Band of Wonder, and it was myself. I was, just added on as, I was the kid,
Yep.
I was the punk kid. I'll be honest, very lucky to be hanging out in the room with the folks that I was with, and it's Jerry Lightfoot and Vince Welnick from the Dead and the Tubes, and
Right.
Larry
Right. Tubes, yes.
yeah. Larry Fulcher, on bass, and Frosty on drums, Barry Frosty Smith, and Charlie Pritchard and John X. Reed. I mean, it was a great group to be in. So, I'd been a Grateful Dead fan. I'd seen them,
Sure.
a bunch, but like to be reading Vince's charts, was quite mind blowing. And anyway, so I've always felt like it's okay to do a Dead song, but you got to do it different. It has to have something in you that's in it, much like blues. It's like if you don't inject something of your soul into it, then it's a wasted exercise. So I started playing Loser the night that Garcia passed away, actually, and over the years it had evolved into this big soup that would have this whole, like you would expect a Grateful Dead song to have this burst of freedom in the middle, this everyone doing this thing. So I had never recorded it, and it had morphed into this really fun jam. And I was like, well, this could be fun. And then I thought to myself, Dave Alvin has recorded this, but he recorded it acoustic. What would happen if those two ideas came together?
Yeah, that's
how
cool.
would that? And so it turns out it was pretty fine, because I got to play with him, and he's such a badass.
Excellent. So you mentioned that you kind of started out listening to punk. Were you like full on punk rocker? Were you like Ramones, Pistols, Clash, that kind of thing? Or everybody's definition of punk is different these days. So I'm kind of curious where you started.
I mean, bands in Houston. I mean, like the Hates. I adore those guys. And folks, obviously the Stooges, and getting to play with James Williamson later. That was just freaking amazing. What a great dude he is. He's wow. All that tone is in his fingers.
Right.
This is the crunch here. It's the crunch. It's awesome, Yep. But in the same breath, it's like the places I could get away with sneaking into. So there was a lot of blues bars. There's a lot of folky hangouts too, and coffee shops, So getting to play with Townes Van Zandt, like when I was a kid, that wouldn't have happened, I mean, if I knew what I was getting into, it would have never happened. I would have been way too scared. I would have never done it. But because I was a somewhat drunk 16-year-old, it turned out okay.
Somewhat drunk.
just that much. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend this lifestyle, but it sure has been fun.
I think you just did. Yeah, exactly. And so when did you realize that you're kind of going from all these, because obviously you have a rich tapestry of musical background. If you're playing with Townes Van Zandt and you're listening to punk and all that stuff, when did you come to realize what you wanted to do with music?
I think a combination of things. I mean, one, my mom played guitar, so getting to hear her, she has such a beautiful voice. That kind of let me know it's like you can do this. It's okay. But for me, the songwriting thing, I think, was the first time I saw Little Screaming Kenny play in Houston, and he played at this club, Fitzgerald's, and I mean, everybody in the room was just like all into this band, just sweaty, crazy, dancing. And I realized that in the midst of it, it's like, I don't recognize these songs. And then it's like, he wrote these. He wrote all of these cool songs. I want to do that, So I immediately bothered him for guitar lessons, and I don't think he spoke a sentence to me till I was 18. Like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Right, gotcha.
But subsequently we got to be in bands together, and yeah, I mean, he's taught me how to be groovy, how to write songs like that.
Very cool. It's good to be taught how to be groovy. I wish I could use a mentor.
I'm still working on where's my groovy mentor?
So after the 8th, when the record comes out, what are you think you're going to be hitting the road and playing some more gigs and doing the thing?
Yeah, we're gonna do a couple of things in Texas. Then I'm gonna run and do a few shows with Mayall, and then do the Midwest. So as soon as I get back from the Mayall run, basically, I'll throw my suitcase in the washer and dryer, throw it back in the suitcase, and then start driving to Nebraska. Yeah,
Start driving to Nebraska. Good God.
that's how we do it.
Yeah,
I was super looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. I got myself and Kevin and and Naj and Shelly. It's going to be a good time, and we're going to be safe. Obviously, we'll still be testing every week and doing all the things you're supposed to be doing and being masked where we can, and and even where we can't, we're just going to be masked until we're up on stage, basically having picnics, doing the things that you would do, and then saving the reckless craziness for on stage, and hopefully spreading some joy.
Yeah. And so with this record, are you thinking of kind of focusing more on your own stuff now, or how are you kind of looking?
Oh, heck, I never know what the future is going to hold. I'm just happy to play. I'm hoping we get to tour a lot, actually. Yeah, on this record, I'm hoping that that the health situation allows for such frivolity on my part, I suppose. But to be able to travel and say hi to folks again, yeah, I look forward to that.
Cool. Ever been to New Zealand?
I've not. We were so close on that last Mayall tour last year, but it didn't get to happen. So
I do remember that he played Australia, right? You guys did? Yeah.
And I believe I think he had maybe 1 or 2 in New Zealand as well on the book. So I was like, oh, so very looking forward to it. You'll be stuck with me one day.
Okay.
It has.
Sounds like a plan. I'll hold you to it. Very good. Well, thanks for spending time talking to me about this record. It's been a real pleasure. Hopefully you have a great day on Friday and everybody listens to it.
Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Have a good day. Bye-bye.